Hi, biodiversity can be conserved in situ or ex situ conservation methods. In this video, I am going to talk about in situ conservation strategies. In situ conservation is also known as on-site conservation. In this, the species are conserved in their natural habitat. The natural ecosystem is protected so as the constituent species, known or unknown, can be conserved. We are actually conserving the whole area, maybe the whole forest. By conserving the whole forest, all the organisms, plants, animals, microorganisms, whatever are there, they are all of them are protected. The whole ecosystem will be protected. So it is in this case, the even the species is not identified, that species also get conserved in this in situ conservation practices. And also the factors which are detrimental to the existence of species concerned are also eliminated. Like if we are conserving a forest by law, we are actually preventing agricultural activities and all human activities in that system. Hunting and poaching and everything will be prevented so that the organism can live freely and the organism will be conserved. So advantage of in situ hybridization is like we are conserving all biodiversity in that system. But in some ex situ type of conservation, we are focusing on a single organism or a group of organisms. But in this case, known and unknown organisms are getting the benefit. Advantages: the in situ conservation is cheap and convenient way of conserving whole biodiversity. We are not conserving one organism; we are conserving the whole thing. It preserve a large number of organisms simultaneously, known or unknown to us. So all we need to do is the conserving the area for that organism, and it promote adaptation and evolution of the living organism. Unlike the ex situ conservation, we are actually not only conserving the biodiversity, we are actually helping it for evolution and more adaptation. And the only limitation for this in situ type of biodiversity conservation is like it needs large space on earth. So if the space is limited, we cannot do it, because for the conservation of the large number of species we need a undisturbed unfragmented habitat for it. So that's only limitation for the in situ biodiversity conservation. And we are doing this conservation in different ways. Specific areas are protected for in situ hybridization. Once we protect the area, the whole organism within that area will be protected. Examples including national parks, sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves. Protected areas. We are protecting these areas for the well-being of the biodiversity. That's what the protected area means. So these protected areas are biogeographical areas. It has the biodiversity and the geological importance. It has the biotic as well as the abiotic components which support biodiversity. Where the in these protected areas, the biological diversity along with the natural and cultural resources are protected and maintained. So some of these places will have the biodiversity and the abiotic factors which is supporting the biodiversity, and maybe have tribal settlements. They have the cultural practices which promote the biodiversity and promote the well-being of the other species. So we are conserving in the protected areas. We are not only concerned about the biotic and abiotic factors, we are also concerned about the cultural practices of the tribal population and the local communities. The protected areas are recognized and dedicated and managed through legal and administrative measures. Actually, these protected areas are legally protected. Every nation has legislations and laws to protect some areas from human interferences, and there should be some administrative structure in form of guards and everything to protect this area. The in situ conservation are the long-term conservation of nature. They are not in short-term in nature. In character, it's a long-term conservation practice, and it contributing to the local people's livelihood, because of the most of this protection leads to the increased the local peoples will get a higher chance of getting the direct value from the forest, from the ecosystem, protected ecosystem, and there is a chance for ecotourism in these areas because of the protected nature. So it's actually contributing to the local people's livelihood, and it recognized by natural, ecological or cultural values. So in order to go to certify or the designate an area as the protected area, it should have natural, ecological or cultural values. So areas with this importance, the national governments will declare it as a protected area, so that the biodiversity along with this natural and cultural diversity will be protected. In these protected areas, hunting, firewood collection, timber harvesting, all of them are prohibited to ensure the safety of the biodiversity. And in all of the world, there is about 161,000 protected areas, and India has 581 protected areas in India. It includes cold desert, which is Ladakh, then hot desert Thar, tropical moist deciduous forest, Western Ghats. These protected areas also include marine protected areas, which is also a marine hotspots for biodiversity. And there is also a global network of protected areas which actually hold together, actually contributing to the 15% terrestrial carbon storage. So it's actually contributing a lot for the climate control. There is also conservation zones. They are not actually protected areas, but they are zones. They like the important bird area because they are important for the conservation of the birds, or endemic bird area (EBA). They are the home for the endemic birds, center for plant diversity. So these zones also helping in biodiversity conservation. It actually guard the natural resources for at a different level. Biodiversity at all levels. If we have in-situ protected area which promote the in-situ biodiversity conservation, it not only conserve the biodiversity, it also conserve the indigenous culture, because it prevent all human activities like, if a forest is open for everyone, the peoples from surrounding areas will come and extract everything take everything from the forest, including timber, animals and everything. But because of the legal protection of these areas, what happens is like the indigenous population, the tribal peoples, are the only one who is able to extract the direct values from this particular habitat. So they will be benefited, the local indigenous culture will be preserved, and it will also help to increase the carbon stock. The increased emission of carbon into the environment is the number one cause of the climate change. So that will be preserved. Rainforest will be preserved, like conserved, and the mountains will be conserved. So the in-situ conservation is the conservation in all levels actually. According to IUCN is the International Union of Conservation of Nature. They are categorizing these protected areas into 7 different categories: 1A, 1B, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 1A IUCN protected area is called a strict natural resource, which has the most stringent laws to protect the area. Those are the most biodiverse area and the most critical areas which affect the climate and everything. 1B is the wilderness area. Type 2, national park. Type 3, natural monuments. Type 4, habitat or species management area. Type 5, protected landscape or seascape. And type 6, protected area with sustainable use of natural resources. So as I said, the most stringent regulations are in the 1A area, and the most relaxed area is the last area, but all of them are protected area for the in-situ conservation of the species. So we are actually by this, all this means we are conserving the biodiversity in situ. So the first two area, 1A and 1B, human interferences is totally restricted. Totally, the humans cannot go to these areas actually, except the tribal populations. But in the last one, protected areas with the sustainable use of natural resources, actually human activities are permitted in these areas in a sustainable way. So from here to here, the stringency of the law will be reduced. In the following videos, I will be talking more about these protected areas. Thank you so much.